The underground chamber beneath the abandoned Fremont State Mental Hospital was a tomb of decay, its air thick with the stench of damp earth and rot. Detective D.D. Warren's flashlight cut through the darkness, revealing 6 mummified bodies, each encased in plastic, their forms grotesquely preserved in a silent scream. At 38, Warren was no stranger to death, but this scene young women, bound, pickled in their own fluids, clawed at her resolve. Her short blonde hair was tucked behind her ears, blue eyes scanning the grim tableau with steely focus. This wasn't just a crime scene. It was a predator's sanctum, a place where evil had festered for years. Above, Detective Bobby Dodge, 40, stood watch, his muscular frame taut, green eyes sharp as they scanned the perimeter. Once her lover, now a partner in a relationship teetering on collapse, he called down, "You okay, Dee?" His voice was steady, but a thread of concern wove through it. "Peachy!" she snapped, her tone sharp as she crouched beside a body. A small pile of trinkets caught her eye lip gloss. A hair clip, a necklace inscribed with Annabelle Granger. A lead, fragile but tangible. She bagged it, her mind already racing toward the next step, her pulse quickening with the promise of answers. Back at the precinct, the team gathered around a table littered with files and coffee cups. Neil, 30, his dark eyes shadowed by his mother's worsening condition in the hospital, sifted through missing persons reports. Alex Wilson, 45, the wiry crime scene analyst with a penchant for dry sarcasm, scribbled notes. "The Gagnon case," Warren said, tossing a file onto the table. 1992, Catherine Gagnon, 17, kidnapped, held in a pit for 30 days, rescued. Richard Umbrio convicted, dead by 98. Sound familiar? Wilson nodded, adjusting his glasses. Umbrio's pit was a 4-6 sinkhole, crude. Ours is a Tanks 20 chamber, reinforced with wood, built to last. 6 victims, not 1. Same MO, but our guy's playing a bigger game. "Annabelle Granger," Warren said, holding up the necklace, its silver glinting under the fluorescent lights. "We need to find her, now." Their search led to a modest apartment in a quiet neighborhood. Annabelle Granger, 33, opened the door, her long auburn hair framing a pale face, blue eyes wary yet resolute. "That's mine," she said, staring at the necklace, her voice barely above a whisper. "I gave it to Dory Petrocelli in 94, before we moved to Florida." Warren's pulse surged. Dory's been missing since October 94. Could she be one of our bodies? Annabelle's fingers trembled as she touched the necklace. "I don't know. Someone was stalking me back then. My father, Russell, was paranoid. We moved constantly. Changed names. Annabelle here, Linda in Florida, Jennifer in Wisconsin. No records, no roots. I'm a ghost." "Why the moves?" Bobby asked, his tone gentle, his green eyes searching her face for clues. "Someone was following us," Annabelle said, her voice cracking. "My father never said who. He died in a fire 2 years ago. My mother overdosed when I was 3. I have no connection to anything or anyone." Warren exchanged a glance with Bobby. Annabelle was a puzzle, her past a labyrinth of fear and flight. "Ever hear of Catherine Gagnon?" Warren asked. "No," Annabelle replied, shaking her head. "Richard Umbrio? Nothing." As Annabelle spoke, a delivery man passed by outside, his face half hidden by a cap. Warren's instincts prickled, a faint alarm bell ringing in her mind, but she dismissed it, her focus locked on Annabelle. The team dug deeper. Neil pulled records from Fremont, shuttered since the 80s. "No Tommy Grayson," he reported, referencing Annabelle's uncle, a potential suspect. But a Benji was admitted in the 70s. "Bright kid, left for a prep school." Wilson leaned forward, his pen tapping the table. "Charlie Marvin called, claims he worked at Fremont, has history to share. Mentioned Christopher Iola, a patient who doped attendants with Thorazine. Kicked out after a nurse, Inga Levelvel, was murdered in 85. No arrest." "Marvin," Warren said, her voice firm. "Run a background check. I want everything where he's been, what he's hiding." The investigation took them back to the crime scene, where Catherine Gagnon, 50, met Annabelle. Her silver-streaked hair and haunted hazel eyes spoke of a life scarred by trauma. "You look like me," Catherine said, her voice brittle as she studied Annabelle's face. "Umbrio kept me in a pit. I was 17. He tried to kill me every day, but I was his only one. Your stalker? Could it be him?" Annabelle paled, her blue eyes wide. "I don't know him." Warren pressed, her tone measured but insistent. "Catherine, are you absolutely certain it was Umbrio? Our bodies postdate his imprisonment." Catherine's eyes blazed with fury. "It was him! I lived his hell for 28 days. Don't you dare question that." As they left, Catherine dropped a bombshell. "Annabelle's father, Russell, visited me in 92, flashed an FBI badge, showed me a photo of a man. It wasn't Umbrio. He was desperate, like it was personal." Warren's mind churned. Russell Granger, posing as FBI, hunting a suspect 2 years before Annabelle's stalking intensified. Was he protecting his daughter? Or concealing his own sins? The team delved into Russell's past, uncovering his true identity. Russell Grace, orphaned after a murder, suicide. His younger brother, Tommy, suffered from rage, obsession, and a host of mental health issues. In the 70s, Tommy lived with Russell and his wife, Annabelle's mother, stalking her relentlessly. When Annabelle was born, his fixation shifted to the baby. In 1980, their babysitter was gunned down while watching Annabelle, who was left unharmed with a teddy bear and a note. Love, Uncle Tommy. Tommy vanished. Russell became Granger, fleeing with Annabelle, changing names and cities to stay ahead of an unseen threat. Tommy's our guy, Warren declared, her voice steel. He's been chasing her for decades. Another suspect emerged. Christopher Eola, 65, a Fremont patient with a $15 million inheritance. His parents, interviewed with their lawyer, revealed a chilling history. At 12, Eola was seduced by their au pair, Gabrielle, a redhead with blue eyes. He grew obsessed, later assaulting his sister. Committed to Fremont, he manipulated the system, possibly killing Inga Levelville. Released in '88, he disappeared with his fortune, a ghost with the means to kill unnoticed. Eola's targeting women who look like Gabrielle, Wilson said, his voice grim. Annabelle fits the profile auburn hair, blue eyes, pale skin. The stakes skyrocketed with a new threat. A note arrived at the precinct. Return the necklace or another girl dies. Meet at Fremont, 3:30, 3 a.m. Wear it. Come alone. Warren, the necklace around her neck, led a team to the hospital, her heart pounding. At 3:33, a cage sprang open, releasing a snarling feral dog. Bobby shot it, saving her. But the setup was too elaborate, too remote. This wasn't about me, Warren realized, her voice tight with dread. It was to lure us away from Annabelle. They raced to Annabelle's apartment. A package waited outside, empty, but ominous. Its presence a taunt. Annabelle was unharmed, but her fear was palpable. Someone's watching me, she whispered, her blue eyes darting to the shadows. I can feel it. Dr. Shoup, a former colleague of Russell's at the university, offered a box of his belongings. Inside were photos, fake IDs, and a journal that laid bare Russell's terror. Tommy's still out there, Annabelle read aloud, her voice breaking. I can't protect her forever. He's obsessed, unhinged. Charlie Marvin reappeared, claiming more history about Fremont. But Neil's background check revealed a chilling truth. No record of Marvin at Fremont, not as staff or patient. He's a ghost, Neil said, his voice tense. Just like Annabelle. The investigation strained Warren's relationship with Bobby. Over a late-night pasta dinner at the precinct, he pushed for more. Try harder, Didi. Us, he said, his green eyes searching hers. She pulled back, her focus on the case. I'm in love with this, she said, gesturing to the files. It fills the cracks. It's enough. But it wasn't. Neil's mother died, and Warren sent him to grieve, knowing work was her own armor against vulnerability. The team cross-checked missing girls, uncovering a pattern. 5 others vanished on October 19th over 6 years, matching Dori Petricelli's abduction. Tommy's ritual, Warren said, her voice low. 1 a year, every year. Ruth Petricelli, Dori's mother, met Annabelle, her warm brown eyes clouded with grief. Your father was paranoid, she said, clutching a photo of Dori. But after we found someone living in the neighbor's attic, we believed him. Dori was heartbroken when you left. She went missing while we were house hunting. I never saw Russell again, but I heard he came back to wrap up at the university. Warren's jaw tightened. Russell knew about Dori's abduction, but never told Annabelle, keeping her in the dark. Why? Was he shielding her or manipulating the narrative? The investigation took a personal toll. Warren's nights were sleepless, her days consumed by the case. Bobby's attempts to bridge the gap between them faltered. You're afraid of being alone, he said one night, his voice raw. But you pushed me away to avoid rejection. I'm not afraid, she snapped, but the lie stung. She was good at her jawbone of the best crime scene analysts, but intimacy was a battlefield she avoided. At Annabelle's apartment, the delivery man, Benja, returned. His gray eyes locked on her, a twisted smile curling his lips. I'm Tommy, he said, his voice soft but unhinged. I've always loved you. He recounted his years at Fremont, his obsession growing, his first kill Dori Petricelli sparked by her rejection. You were mine, he said, stepping closer, his gaunt frame looming. I became Benji to find you. I delivered your food, fixed your light, folded your laundry. I've been taking care of you. Annabelle froze, her heart pounding, her blue eyes wide with terror. Warren and Bobby burst in, guns drawn, their shouts echoing in the small space. Tommy lunged, a knife flashing in the dim light. Bobby tackled him, pinning him to the floor as Warren cuffed him, her movements swift and precise. Annabelle sobbed, collapsing against the wall, the weight of her past crashing down. I wanted a family, she whispered, her voice raw. Not this. In the aftermath, Yola's body was found, unclaimed by his family. He'd crossed paths with Tommy, drawn by the case's dark allure, but died in a random clash. His own killings prostitutes resembling Gabrielle and related to the pit. Nothing's random, Warren muttered, sipping scotch at a bar with Bobby, the weight of the case still heavy on her shoulders. Eola was a predator, but Tommy was the pit's architect, his obsession with Annabelle the thread that tied the horrors together. Annabelle, now safe, stood taller, her auburn hair catching the light as she packed her apartment, ready to start anew. I survived, she said, her voice steady despite the tremor in her hands. That's enough for now. Bobby leaned closer to Warren, his voice low. Baby steps, Dee. Dee, we could try. She smiled faintly, the first crack in her armor. Maybe. As they left the bar, Warren's phone buzzed. New case, another crime scene waiting. She straightened, her blue eyes hardening with resolve, ready to face the darkness again. Some echoes never faded, but she was built to chase them. Annabelle, meanwhile, looked toward a future unburdened by the past, her dream of a permanent home no longer a distant hope, but a tangible goal. The pit's shadows lingered, but her resilience was a quiet victory, a testament to survival against a relentless predator.